The world moved fast. Too fast for most people to notice the ones who didn't belong. In a city filled with glass towers, rushing footsteps, and endless ambition, there was a man no one ever really saw. His name was Daniel Hayes. Every morning, before the elevators began their endless movement, before voices filled the hallways, before power dressed itself in expensive suits, Daniel was already there, cleaning the floors, wiping the glass, erasing the marks left behind by people who believed they were important. For others, he was invisible. Just another janitor, someone who existed but didn't matter. And Daniel never reacted. He simply worked in silence. People like Mark Bennett made sure of that. Mark was everything Daniel wasn't: loud, confident, respected. Every day as he walked past, he threw the same careless words.
Make sure you don't miss a spot.
Day after day, Daniel would simply nod, not in surrender, but in quiet patience. There was only one person who noticed something different in him. Her name was Sophia Reed. She wasn't like the others. She observed more than she spoke, and one morning she stopped, just for a moment, watching Daniel, the way he worked, the way he moved, and the way he never seemed rushed, even in a rushing world.
You're always here early.
Some things are better done before anyone notices.
But later, those words would mean everything. Upstairs, the world was different. Decisions were made in seconds, lives changed with signatures, and power sat comfortably behind polished desks. At the top of it all was Victor Langford, a man who believed only in results, not people. Emotion is weakness, he once said during a meeting, and no one dared to disagree. While they spoke about growth, profit, and expansion, Daniel listened, not to their words, but to their mistakes. Because Daniel wasn't just cleaning floors, he was learning. Every conversation overheard, every strategy discussed, every failure ignored. He collected them, silently, like pieces of a puzzle no one else realized existed. At night, when the city slowed down, Daniel's world came alive. A small apartment, a dim light, an old laptop, and pages filled with numbers. Ideas, plans, not dreams. Not anymore, because Daniel had already learned what dreams did when they were seen by the wrong people. Years ago, Daniel had been someone else. Ambitious, hopeful. He had built something, a plan so precise, so ahead of its time, that he believed it would change everything. But when he presented it to people like Victor, they didn't see potential. They saw risk. You don't belong in this room, they told him, and just like that, he was erased. But rejection didn't break him. It refined him. Back in the present, the company Daniel worked in was beginning to fall, slowly at first. Then, all at once, deals collapsed, investments failed, numbers turned red. Panic spread faster than solutions. For the first time, people like Victor Langford didn't have control, and that scared them. Meetings grew louder, voices sharper, blame passed like currency. But no one had answers, except someone they never thought to ask. Sophia noticed it first, the way Daniel paused when he overheard discussions, the way his eyes followed numbers on screens, like he already knew where they would fail. One evening, she followed him, not out of suspicion, but curiosity. She saw him sitting alone, laptop open, charts glowing in the dark, predictions, corrections, solutions, not guesses.
You're not just a janitor, are you?
I'm just someone who learned from being ignored.
That night, everything changed. The next morning, the crisis reached its peak. The company stood on the edge of collapse. And for the first time, Sophia did something no one else dared. She spoke up.
There is someone who can help.
They laughed. Of course they did. Until Daniel walked into the room. Still in his janitor uniform, still underestimated. Victor didn't even look at him. But Daniel didn't wait for permission. He stepped forward and spoke.
You're not failing because of the market. You're failing because you stopped listening when it mattered.
And then, he explained, not like a man trying to prove something, but like someone who already knew the outcome. Step by step, mistake by mistake, solution by solution. Minutes passed, then hours. And slowly, expressions changed, from doubt to confusion to realization, because everything he said was right. And then came the moment no one expected. Victor leaned forward, eyes sharp, voice controlled. Who are you? Daniel paused, just for a second, then answered, I'm the one you ignored. And then he placed another document on the table. Legal, signed, final. I already bought your company, he said quietly. Silence, absolute. The janitor they never noticed owned everything. I'm not here for revenge, Daniel said. I'm here to fix what you couldn't. Because power had never been his goal. Days passed. The company stabilized. Then grew. Everyone started giving respect to him, but Daniel? He didn't change much. Same calm voice, same quiet presence, same patience. One morning, as he walked through the lobby, he saw a new janitor working quietly, unnoticed. Daniel stopped for just a moment and said softly, "Some things are better done before anyone notices." The man looked up, confused, grateful, seen, and Daniel walked away. Not as someone who proved others wrong, but as someone who proved that being ignored was never the end. Bullseye moral of the story. The world overlooks the quiet ones until they become impossible to ignore.